Well, thank you so much for tuning into my channel once again. My name is Dr. Paul, um, Creative Director of Paul International. Our aim is actually to support, enable you get things done the easier way with these tutorials. And I believe we've been able to achieve that in our previous videos. We are trying not to bug you with a lot of theories and stories and all that, but also for you to have a strong grip on what graphic design is, so you don't struggle with anything trying to place colors, trying to place your text and what have you. So today we're going to be looking at a design. We're going to be analyzing this design, and we're going to be fishing out the things we've talked about earlier and how we can actually implement them in our design. Now, if you're already a graphic designer or you've done graphics before, I believe this is going to help you to actually put together some other things, such as your alignment, colors, and maybe understanding concepts and how to apply them. Then if you are still learning, if you're a novice, okay, I will say you should watch the earlier videos we've made on this channel on elements and principles of graphic design. So let us move forward with this. Right now on the screen you'll be seeing a design. What's hot in graphic design now? The graphic design is more the thing about graphic design, or rather graphic design is trendy, right? Within a space of time there's a kind of design that comes out and people actually use often, or kind of elements that people actually use often. So if you look at the screen now, you're going to be seeing looking at my mouse cursor, you'll be seeing the circle rings, the plus, the rectangular stuff, and the rest of them, the backgrounds and all that. So it actually makes the design look a certain way, though in our subsequent class I'm going to show you different kinds of designs for different purposes and how you can actually create them. Now, creating them is not just it doesn't just end there, but now having a grip, understanding how that design works. For example, if I have to create a design for a wedding program or a party, okay, there are elements, there are things I should put in my mind while I'm doing that, both my font selection, my background selection, and even the illustration, down to the illustration. Then if I'm doing a design for a church, there are things I have to put in consideration. So I'm going to do all that in detail, but for now I want you to have your first design. We're going to use all the things we've learned in Photoshop, and we're going to try to implement this in our design. So this design was made by GM Design Group. You can check them out on Pinterest. All right, so for people that don't know what Pinterest is where you can pin your interest. It's for creatives. You can check out inspirations from there. If you're a graphic designer, whatever you do at all, so you can go there, photographer, check out inspirations, how you can actually use them and beef up what you're already doing. So stick to the class to the end, and you're gonna love it. So now back to Photoshop, and I told you how to bring up stuff into Photoshop. If I like, I can pull, drag and drop this on Photoshop. All we are just trying to do is to mimic or take what is here and create and understand how we can actually use them to create stuff. So we can learn how to generate or create these elements and actually save them and use them in our subsequent designs, or you can just pick whatever you want to pick. There are a lot of concepts here, there are a lot of things here on this design you can actually use. Okay, this is actually flat design. It looks good. All right, without any further ado, let's get started already. So first of all, I'm going to create a new layer by hitting on Ctrl N or going to my file and select new. Okay, and select new. So we are making our first graphic design. That's what we're doing. We're trying to make our first graphic design. So I can save this project. I can type in my first project. Okay, my first graphic design project. So remember, we are trying to keep everything very simple and comprehensive. There's no big deal about this if you follow through what I'm about to show you now. So you can create your graphic design however you want it. So I want to imagine that the size of this file is 6 inches by 3 inches. Okay, so I just imagine that. So I've made a video on this panel. You can check our previous video and hook up if you don't understand anything that happens here. So but right here I'm trying to put the size of my project, and they are all set. Thank you. So assuming this is my layout, this is where I'm supposed to be working on. So what I'm going to do, first thing first, like I told you, when you are making a graphic design, you shouldn't allow your text or your font to touch the edges, but there are exceptions to those rules. Okay, so but I'm going to show you how. First of all, if you're a beginner, you can use Ctrl R to bring out your rulers. So you take from this point, just keep your mouse here and pick your ruler, Don't know why mine is not picking. Okay, sorry, maybe I made a mistake. So I just imagine a little centimeters away from the borders. Okay, few centimeters away from the borders, so my designs doesn't cross that part. I mean, my text doesn't cross that part. So what is very much important is actually the text. Okay, so I need to be looking at this. So I'll just place it side by side with my design, my new design, or better still, I'll keep it here. Yeah, so it's easier here. Okay, so first of all, I talked about hierarchy in the video I made earlier, one of the first videos I posted earlier. Now when you look at this design, there's this first thing, no matter how small it is, but there's an emphasis on it. All right, if you have your design, everything must not be will I say, noticed by looking at it for the first time. There's some of the elements of your design that has to be seen from far. Then people can now be drawn to trying to know exactly what you have on the design. So, and that thing on this design is the GM design. Okay, that is what has the emphasis. Okay, so that is every other thing that comes under should, all right, be smaller. Okay, unless you want to make more emphasis, but basically the ones that have the extraordinary emphasis, like you are seeing now, the GM design with some of some elements behind, if you're a Nigerian, or rishi behind it. Okay, it's actually what the design is all about. They are trying to actually advertise their brand as it is. So every other thing right here is just a description of what you have about GM graphics. Hope you understood that. So let me take it again. The GM design is the point of attraction, is what has the major emphasis. Then every other thing, the what's hot in graphic trend, geometric shapes, are just to make a description of what the GM designs are all about. All right, so we're going to use it and generate. So you're going to use your name. I'm going to use my name as the major emphasis for this design. But first of all, let's learn how to create our circles in this manner. So what you need to do first of all is to pick the shape tool. We talked about the shape tool. This is the shape tool. Okay, it's and you click on the ellipse, shape tool, and the ellipse. Sorry, so I pick the shape tool and I pick the ellipse. So once I do that, I will hold down shift. Once I hold down shift, I will be able to resize this without it being stretched left or right. So I want to have a perfect circle. So I hold down shift to have a perfect circle. So there are sometimes you may want to have a circle like this, an ellipse like this. You can actually still achieve that. Okay, so but I want a perfect circle. So once I click on the perfect circle, automatically it creates a layer for me right here. So but what if I have a lot of layers here? There are sometimes you may want to create a circle and your mind might actually skip. It goes and creates a circle somewhere else. So why is my circle blue in color? My circle is blue in color. Remember the foreground color we talked about? When you have a particular color here, that color becomes what happens at anything you put here. Or your brush, your text will come with that color. So but never mind, you can always change your colors at any time. So if I want to change the color of this, the first thing I can do is to go to the circle, the ellipse tool, and I look up here. I'm going to see the properties, so I can from here change the color. But now the color we have here, is red, and we're going to use exact colors here. Okay, till I actually do a video on colors for you, how you can know the perfect colors, how you can mix and match colors. I'll do a video on that. So we'll use red. So this is how we do that. So we'll pick the shape tool, select the shape tool, and you see the fill. Okay, the fill in Photoshop, whenever you see it, it's about filling color inside a particular stuff. So you can see that. So there's nothing, if you look very well at the former design, I'm going to attach it to the description so you can download the picture if you want to use it for your model. Okay, so I will see this line shows that I don't want any color at the center. So this line is for the outline. Okay, so I will say I want red, right, at the outline. So what I want to do next is to increase the outline by maybe 3 or 5. Okay, so let me see how it looks. So okay, 5 is perfect. So you see 5 is perfect. All right, so the next thing I want to do is to duplicate this circle so that we can have those ripples at the center. So how do I duplicate the circle? Now you can use Ctrl J or Command J and to duplicate basically, and you can also come here and drag your ellipse. You can drag your ellipse to this point and it duplicates by itself. Okay, so but when you duplicate, you are not going to see the effect immediately. okay, because the layers are on top of each other. So Control J, I've duplicated. I'm not going to see it double, okay, but it's duplicated. So what I'm going to do is to hold down Control and hit on T. Now Control T is a function of transform, so you can use it to transform anything. So transforming can actually mean to flip, horizontal. You right click, you see what the things you can do, with the transform tool. So once you transform, is either you're reducing the size like what you have here, the scale, or you are rotating it, or you are skewing it. So I'm going to show you guys how all this works. So you are skewing it, or you're about to distort it, or you want to put it in a perspective, okay, or you want to turn it 360. So once you click on Ctrl T, hit on Ctrl T, you can be able to change the size of anything, okay, of anything. So look at this now. I'm trying to make the circle to align at the center. So for the software we are using, we can see that once you try to move it, it snaps at the center by itself, okay. So but there is another way you can do that without really stressing yourself. That's hitting Ctrl T and holding on Alt helps us to put it at the center so that it can align from the center. Hold on Alt and reduce it row one, so you don't need to move the circle, okay. So you can hit it and hit on Ctrl J again to duplicate, and hit on Ctrl T to transform. You try it again, okay. You hit on Ctrl T again, you move it, sorry, hit on Ctrl J, sorry, you look at it, although it's not perfect, but you're doing something. So you Ctrl J once again and Ctrl T to transform. Alright, so you Ctrl J once again, Ctrl T to transform. So this is what you have. So I think this is enough. This is good enough. So it's actually a geometric shape. Like we talked about types of shape, this is actually a geometric shape. So this is what we could achieve with this. So this on its own, it's very, very beautiful. So like this, I can come here, hold down Shift and select this whole thing. Click on this, hold down Shift and click on this. It makes selection of everything. But if you want to make selection of particular things, you can hold on Control, make selection of other things that are not in line, okay. But if you want to select everything at the same time, so you just hold down Shift and select everything. So we can as well group it and name it, and double click on it and name it geometric circle, geocircle 1. All right, so geocircle 1. So this is what we have. Okay, now we can move all of them together, and we can actually transform all of them together by hitting on Ctrl T. So you see what we have. That's cool. So what next do we have on this that is very, very exceptional? Okay, now these other designs here, sorry, this other circle right here is still the same thing with this, but the spacing were smaller. So you can actually achieve that by your own self. You can actually achieve that here. So the next thing you can see here is what we call rectangle, triangle, but the triangle was duplicated to give us something like this. So how do we achieve this right now? You might as well count the triangles that are here, and the ones at the center. So we'll have 6 at the top, 5 at the top, 5 by the side, 5 by the side. So but nevertheless we can still achieve that without all those long calculations. So how do we achieve that for the triangle? So I don't know why I'm saying rectangle. So for rectangles, you can go to custom shape. Your computer, your software do not come with a lot of these. I actually downloaded them, so I will have to show you how to do that manually. And if you need this, you let me know in the comment section. I'm going to attach it for you. So how do I achieve this rectangle now when I don't have an option for rectangle? There are a lot of ways you can achieve that, okay? And one of those ways is to use the polygon tool. So with the polygon tool, we can see the options we have at the top of this place. We can use 3 is for rectangle. So once I hit on 3, I can now draw my rectangle. Can't you see? So I can still get a perfect rectangle without having to skew. So holding down shift, I can have my rectangle like that. So but this rectangle is not the kind of, it's not this looks like an equilateral triangle. Why am I saying rectangle? I'm so sorry. So this looks like an equilateral triangle, but that one looks like I don't know, I'm not so good at maths. Maybe I socialize something. So we'll transform. Okay, we'll just make it look like this a little bit, and we'll just hit it. So let me look at it again. Okay, it's sitting this way. It's sitting right angled triangled. So I think we have to undo, so we can have it sitting right angle triangle. Now undo in Photoshop is something a lot of people find very difficult, but it's actually very simple. There is a button here. Look at this button. It's a history button. If you want to undo multiple times, you just click, open the button and check out what you have here. All right, till you come to where you've been. But you can actually achieve that with shortcut Control Alt Z. Control Shift Z. Okay, Control Shift Z. So Control Alt Z can undo and undo and undo. So Control Shift Z to undo, just to redo. Control Alt Z to undo. So haven't got this. This is where we can actually create our triangle. But now, if you take a very good look, that triangle is a right angled triangle. So what are we going to do is that we're going to create that triangle manually. So how do we do that? We're going to create a new layer. Like I said earlier, Photoshop is about layers. So we're going to create a new layer. We're going to create a new layer, and then we're going to create the triangle in it. So with our pen tool. So pen tool should actually be your friend, but for now, don't think too much about it. You guys are gonna get along. So just click on that and hold down your shift if you want them to be on the same line, and do that and do that and complete it. So you've drawn your triangle. So this is your triangle shape. You just drew it by yourself. Congratulations, you've made it. So okay, that's for this triangle at the top. So let's duplicate this triangle. Ctrl J we've duplicated it, and let me rotate it. By clicking on transform, Ctrl T, you can actually rotate. Once you see that turning on your own sign, okay, this curve, once you see it, you can rotate, you can turn it on your own. So you click, you hit enter, and now we can now reduce the size, zoom in, okay, and start duplicating this triangle, yeah. So how do we do this? Do we keep hitting on Ctrl J? All right, let me show you another way you can duplicate. Once you hold down the Alt key, you see a double arrow showing right here. So what you're gonna do is you hold down the double arrow and move it. Just move it. So I just move it to at the right point. You hold down the double arrow again. So with this, you can actually duplicate with almost the same distance. Okay, so it's almost the same distance. So whatever you want to move here, you can actually click it here, or you make a selection with your right mouse to see the name. So all of them are named. You see that all of them are named. So now I can make selection of this because I want to duplicate it vertically. I've just done horizontally, so I'll hold down the Alt key and I'll do just the same thing I did the other place. So it will, if you pay attention, its computer finds a way to give you the exact space you've had at the other side. I think this is too much, is it? This place is longer than this place. All right, let's continue. So having done that, we can as well take the next one and move it. Select this one, right click and select this one and move it right here. The same thing you do to this other one and move it right here. So we do the same thing to this one, right click, select and move it and move it. So we do the same thing here, right click, select. All right, it's done. So we have a lot of shapes right here. So how do we make all this to be one? We right click and we will group it, Ctrl G to group it. So we'll name it our little triangles. Okay, so that's the name, our little triangles. So we can actually select here and move. So before you move anything here, you can actually you must have to make selection here. Then you right click, or you right click here, see the name of what you just did and make selection, make movement just the way you want it. So having done this, what else can we see in this design? All right, I'm actually trying to make you see designs in different ways. Whenever you see a design, the first thing you need to do is to break down to the lowest what you can understand. Now, we've been able to understand the elements of designs. You know what a circle is, you know what a triangle is. So we are moving into the square, okay? But this is a polygon, all right? But I see it as a square that was flipped, all right? To have the peak, the apex up here and have something down. So I can see a square. So when you get a design, the first thing you need to do is to break down the things to the order of things you can understand and relate to quickly according to what we've learned earlier. So how do we do this now? So the next thing we see here, because I might not be able to open this again. The next thing we're going to do now is to check for the rectangle, check for the tiny other rectangles. You can see those tiny stuff around, and these other ones are just replication of what we already have. So we'll just take care of that, and that'll be all. All right, so moving on. Okay, so let's create our shape, our square shape. So how do we do that? Once you do that, you might not see this immediately, but it's safer to open a new layer by just doing this, so you can easily drop. So hold down the shift key, and haven't done that, what next you need to do is to rotate this, put it this way, you rotate it this angle 45, so you can as well come here and put 45 degrees so it can fit in perfectly. Apply. So this is it, angle 45 degrees. Okay, so this is it. Okay, this is it. So this is it. The next thing we need to do is to change the color. Now all the shapes, you can actually make effects on them the same way, change their colors the same way. Just click on the shape tool, you're going to see this, or you click on the properties of that shape or whatever that is there, you're going to see something here. So but now look at the one we're going to use is the one right here. So we'll put black on it. That's a default black color there, so we'll put black on it. Did it really apply? Oh, it did not apply. So you can as well double click on that shape for it to apply the effect we want. So this is how we want it. So remember our geometric circle, we can actually duplicate this layer and scatter them all around our project. So I can double click on this and give it a red color. So I put it and give it a red color. So I can kind of reduce the size. So this, I'm just going to place it right here. Remember, they are still all in group, so you can still look and see what we have. Yeah, so we can create the circle. Of course we can try out creating the circle. Hold down the shift key and try to create the circle. So you put this off, sorry, okay, see what I'm saying? It's safer to create a new layer, okay? Else we are going to create some of the shapes on top of shapes. I'll still expose us to that. So I have this, and I will switch it off so that, you know, I'll have maybe about 4 right here, and I'm going to fast forward this a little bit so we can see how it's done. Okay, all right, welcome back. Right now we have a couple of circles here and there. What we're going to be doing to this circle is that we're going to be changing their colors. And how are we going to do that? So we can still choose to change their colors this way. So I haven't done this. The next thing we're going to do is to change the color of some of these our shapes. And how do we do that? There are a lot of ways we can do that. So we can change the color by going to this FX button. I'm going to talk about this FX button. It's pretty simple. Go to FX button, go to color overlay. It's pretty going to change the color of everything. So you hit here and take on ash, a gray scale. Okay, so you can actually do that. So now we want to change the visibility of this so that it won't be so visible. Okay, we use the opacity. Look at the opacity. That's what the opacity is. So you've learned what the opacity is. So I can select this and apply the same effect I applied on this. It automatically does. When I click on it, I can select ash, and maybe as well apply some opacity to it. So we'll probably leave those ones as red. Okay, so and this little guy here, we'll push it up here and maybe duplicate it one more time, and this little guy here, and maybe duplicate it one more time. So like you've learned how to duplicate it. So one more thing, a few more things to go. We have a shadow right here, and you'll be asking how you can actually create shadows. I'm going to teach on shadow all alone. Shadow is something the subject is overwhelming, so I'm going to talk about shadow all alone. Okay, so we'll talk of shadow, we'll talk of reflection, shadows and reflections. Yes, I'm going to talk about that all alone, so you can learn how to use them. Okay, so what next? We're going to create this little rectangle up here. So we'll take up this and create a thin rectangular line. Now you don't need to hold down your shift because we want to create something very thin. Okay, so haven't done this, it's done like that. So how do I rotate this? I might as well hold on control T and use the angle key here. Use the angle key here and put it at 45, because remember we did 45, so that we can have a perfect stuff. So put it at 45. So when computer asks you that question, say yes. All right, put it at 45. So it's pretty short. The ones on top are pretty short. So what I'm gonna do is that I will reduce it by height. Okay, you see that? I reduce by height, but once I reduce it by height, I'm going to have a problem because it's not going to be the same size again. So what am I going to do in this kind of situation? How do I cut this rectangle, this our thin leg rectangle short? Sorry, there are a lot of ways you can do that. Okay, but I'm going to show you one way. One way is that we're going to hide something. We're going to hide something. So but before then, let's duplicate it into 3 and probably change their opacity. So you can actually make your designs with shapes and they will look pretty cool. So I'll change the opacity of this one, or better still, change their colors. Double click, make this one a lighter version of gray. Double click, make this one a little bit lighter, and that'll be all. So we'll just have these three selected. We can group them and name them thin rectangle rect 1. So the thin rectangles 1. We can hide them. Now, how do I bring this thing behind this square? We can use the send back shortcut, so which is control bracket open and bracket close. I mean brackets, not parentheses. Okay, brackets. So control brackets open and bracket close. So be looking at this area. You're going to be noticing that once I'm doing that, things are going backwards. Did you see that? All right, they are quite going backwards. So they are all back. So this is what we want it to be. So how do we delete? How do we remove what of this? How do we remove it? Because we don't have it here. So we can remove it by do we divide it? So if we should do that, what we're gonna do is that I don't want this to get a little complicated. That's why I'm avoiding going to that direction, but it's as if we're gonna do it. So look now and see what we're gonna do. I'm going to use some part of this and I'm going to use it half. So I want to divide this into half. So I might as well delete it. I might as well reuse it. So I think what I'm going to do is to reuse. So how do I do that? First of all, I'm going to duplicate this, Ctrl J, so that I can preserve the original. Okay. So once I do that, I'm going to turn it off so that it doesn't show. Okay. We'll know the ones we've worked on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the selection tool, like I've talked about the selection tool. I'm going to pick the selection tool, but before I do that, I'm going to convert this to a raster object. Okay, I'm going to convert it to a raster object, or I'm going to mask it, but it's easier. Let's work on raster till I teach about masking. Okay, so rasterize. First of all, we merge the group. It becomes one layer now. Okay, having merged the group, what we're going to do is that I'm going to pick the lasso tool, but I'm going to pick the polygonal lasso tool and I'm going to cut it like that. So I'm just going to cut this way, cut around it, and right on top of it I'll make a selection, copy layer via copy layer via cut. So this creates a layer of whatever we selected on its own. So we want to do layer via cut. So there are two layers now, this and this. So look at this, it's half already. So if you don't get it, just rewind a little bit and you'll surely get it, trust me. So we'll put it just right behind what they have here. Okay, let me move this a little bit so that we can have it just at the right proportion. Okay, so let me move this, so we can have it just right there. So okay, so and the rest of it. So we mustn't achieve exactly, but I believe we're understanding what I'm trying to do. Okay, so let me move this right up to this place. Okay, and reduce it a little bit. So try and have your stuff as minimalistic as possible, so let it not be all over the place. Okay, just like mine nearly got to be all over the place. So I haven't done this. The next thing we're going to do right now is to create that reflection. How do we create that reflection? There are a lot of ways we can do that, but I'm going to be showing you the simplest way to create that reflection, and that is we're going to use our pen tool and create a new layer. Let's do it just right here. Create a new layer by clicking on this and holding the shift key and holding it down and holding it down here and completing the circle. So we've done this, so we're going to click on white. So having clicked on white, we'll pick our eraser tool. Although the eraser tool is not going to work right now, so what we're going to do is to just convert it to rasterized layer. I talked about raster objects earlier. You can check about the videos. So once I take the eraser tool, I will check the size. So one other way to check the size of your whatever is to your eraser tool or your brush tool is to use the brackets open and bracket close. So once I get it, what I'll do is I'll erase half of it, just half of it, like that. Okay, just a little. Don't, no pressure. Then I might as well reduce the opacity of my brush so that I can come in and it's not going to be so hard. Then, and I'm going to reduce the opacity from here as well, so I have something like that, and I brush out a little more. So you see how simple it is. Very simple, right? Very simple. So and how do I create that shadow? Another magic. Oh, it's not a magic though. You pick the same rectangle because you are creating a shadow of what has been already. So you pick the same rectangle, duplicate it and move it to come just right under this place. And just the same way we applied what do you call it, we applied eraser tool. Remember, your eraser tool have to be the first one. We just rasterize and dual and start erasing, reduce our opacity to about 18 so that we can have a good job. So erase to this point, then come back again and erase. Okay, so we'll have something like this. So once we're done, we've been able to work off the edges. We can reduce the opacity just the way we want it. So I haven't done this, shadows transit. I haven't done this. We have to control and bring it down. Control bracket down. So we'll bring it down. Let me check the level of eraser. Oh, we have to really brush it out a little bit more. So you just reduce it a little bit more, and that will be awesome. So I'll pick these rectangles. These my 10 rectangles. I put it at the center. So this is perfect. Okay, for now this is perfect. If you get it to this point, you're awesome. Now I'm not forgetting the plus sign that is here. Yeah, the plus sign. So how do I create the plus sign if you don't have it? So how you do it is use 2 rectangles. All right, this is one. You duplicate it, Ctrl J and Ctrl T. You add 90 degrees. Yes, because it's going to lie 90 degrees. So this is the rectangle. So the 2 of them, what you're gonna do is you group them like we did earlier. Okay, and you go to the FX and add color. So you can actually add color from anywhere, but don't worry, we're gonna get through all that. These are just my own way of doing it. So we always gonna stick to how it's gonna work best for us. So don't be too rigid, don't be too bound. Just follow me. Feel free if you don't understand anything. These are plus. You can tweak the plus to become maybe a star mark. So you see that now. You can make it bigger or smaller. So the next thing we're going to do is to type something. So I'm going to type my name, Dr. Paul. Okay, so this is it. So this is my name. Now remember, we talked about contrast. Right here we have a good contrast, okay, but right here we don't have a good contrast on black. Okay, so how do we do it? First of all, take my text up using control bracket, and right here we can go to text. If you don't have this, go to your Windows. You're going to see character. You click on it. So go to text. I'm going to put white. Okay, you see the contrast. I'm going to put white. So for the doctor, for the DR, I'm going to put red. So I just highlight it. I'll put red. So okay, so this is what I have. So my fonts, remember, you're going to be using very simple fonts, sans fonts and the rest. Okay, I made a video about fonts. You can as well check it out to see the fonts you download and fonts you use. But this font, actually, the name of the font is Montserrat. Montserrat is a very popular font. You can Google and download it and install. I'll show you how to download fonts and how to install. It's in that video as well. So I can, make sure that what I have is at the center and it's not at the edge. So you don't do this, please. For the purpose of this class, don't do this. Just keep it very minimal at the center, just like that. So I'll come by the side, and what I'm going to type is, I love graphic design. Design. All right, this is it. I love graphic design. So under it, I'm going to write my first tutorial. All right, so my first tutorial. So I'm going to reduce it because it's not on our major emphasis. So once I do it, I'll put it just right under this place and maybe put a color black on it. So you can as well do this, try it out, and let me see how it works. Okay, thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, drop your questions, and share this video on how to create flat and simple designs using geometric elements. So we're going to still explore more on this, but for the meantime, thank you so much.